Hello, friends. A pleasant day to all. So, all these days you have been going through the quantitative reasoning and other sort of things in the aptitude part of it. So, today we'll be going to learn about the verbal ability. So, this will be your first day on the verbal ability. So, in the verbal ability, what all we are going to learn and what are all important from the perspective of the test that we are going to appear in GRE. Those things we will be covering in this a week days time. Okay, I hope all are very clear in this. So today I will take you through some of the important tips that need to be taken care, that need to be kept in your mind, so that whenever you are writing the exam or the test for GRE, you will not feel confused or you will not find any difficulties in those things. Right, my dear friends? So, today will be the very first day. I welcome you all for day one of the verbal ability. So, let us go ahead and see what are the few tips or some instructions that need to be followed as far as the verbal ability is concerned in the GRE. Right, my dear friends? Yes. The first and foremost thing that is required for any English test, whether it is GRE, IELTS, TOEFL, PT, or whatever the thing it is. So, in the English test, the first and foremost thing that each and every one of us have to focus on is the building of our vocabulary. So, once we build our vocabulary, if our brain dictionary is filled with a lot of vocabularies, then we find it quite easy to get along with any type of test. So now let me make you to understand how we can build our vocabularies. How can we improve our vocabularies in the dictionary of our own brain, right? So there is a hell lot of vocabularies in the dictionary that you get physically, but how can we store it in our brain? How we can memorize it? How we can recollect it as and when they are required, right? That is the main constraint all of us do face. So to memorize the vocabularies, I'll be giving you some few tips. If you follow those tips, it will be quite easy for you to understand the particular word, store them in your mind, and use them as and when those things need to be used. So, as I was telling you, know, an improved and the strengthened vocabulary, it is the most appropriate way to improve your vocabulary skills and enhance the verbal scores. That means the verbal scores means in any English test. That's what I was telling you. In any English test, whatever you face, you are facing GMAT, SMAT, EMAT, whatever the MAT or any other IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, PT, whatever may be the test. Whenever, even if it is a competitive exam for banking or SSB or SSC, whatsoever it is. So when it comes to English aptitude or the verbal aptitude, the best way to score good marks in this, in those examinations or in those tests, are improving one's verbal ability and the vocabulary in their brain. So, how do we improve our vocabulary? The first and foremost step, what you have to do is try to understand the meaning of the word that you need to understand. You need to memorize. So, memorize the meaning of that word. Once you memorize, you visualize, yes, if this word, if I put it along with this particular word, does this match? And does this word go hand in hand with the other word? So, for example, in English, I'll be when I get into the main topic, I will let you know what is a noun, what is a pronoun, complete parts of speeches. Especially, I will let you know more about the very important parts of speeches that are required to memorize our vocabulary. So, when we get into those things, how we are going to memorize? So, memorizing the meaning of those words and the prefixes and the suffixes. So, prefixes and the suffixes means when there is a, say for example, there is a fill in the blank. So, you need to fill in the right word there. So, when you are going to fill in the right word there, you have to understand the meaning of the prefix, means before the blank, what the word is there, And after the blank, what word is there? Before the blank, that word is the prefix. After the blank, that word is the suffix. Right? And the root words as much as possible. The root words are those which you predict first looking at the sentence itself. Yes, this is the meaning of this. So this should be the word that should fit in here. You have to memorize the meaning of these things. Then it will be quite easy for you to understand the vocabularies, and you can memorize those vocabularies quite easily. So, if, say for example, you are reading a newspaper or a magazine and you are reading through a sentence, right? One word you are not able to understand what exactly the meaning of that particular word. Just underline it, note it down. Look at the previous word and the next word. That is the prefix and the suffix words. Try to connect with the words that you are not understanding. That is there in the middle part of it. So, and then try to read the entire sentence again. Try to capture the meaning of the sentence. What could be the meaning of that sentence? Once you what how to understand the sentence, then automatically you will get the meaning of those words. So once you memorize that, you write it down and memorize it. Then how you can do this, sir? How can we get into number of words to put into our things? The best thing is to run those things through the flashcards or the play cards, right? What are flashcards, play cards? So write down the name of the word on a bit of paper, right? You would have seen it. Flashcards, play cards. These are the things where they will write a word on a piece of paper and forward it to you, and they will ask you to explain. Or else just they will flash it on the screen. You have to read the word. I think most of you would have watched the serial on the TV's Kaun Banega Crorepati, KBC, right? Sometimes you see some flashing words for the answers. Those types of things that are called as flashcards. Just they will flash a word in front of you. So like that, you prepare a card, physical card. Just go through that word and remember it. So how can you remember those things, right? Once you do lot of flashcards, you write some 10, 15, 100, umpteen number of flashcards, umpteen number of words that you want to learn about. What you do is once you collect all those things, how do you prepare that? One side, you make the flashcards, word on the flashcard. On the other side of the flashcard, you write the meaning of those words, right? Get into the dictionary, see what parts of speech is that. Because please, my kind advice, don't get into the dictionary of Google, because there you will get confused. Because Google dictionary, 100 people would have given the meanings and 100 meanings should be there. Get into a good hard copy of a Oxford dictionary, search for the word. There they would have given you the parts of speech. Also, you have to concentrate while you go through the parts of speech. What part of speech is that? The names of the parts of speech would be there in abbreviation. Certain words will function as multiple parts of speeches. Say, for example, one word can be taken as an adjective, as well as a noun, and as well as a verb. So, depending on that, they would have given three abbreviations. Noun, they would have made it as N, adjective, ADJ, adverb, ADV, like that, they would have mentioned it. Note down those parts of speech as well, and the number of meanings it can give. When I get into the Oxford Dictionary, the best advantage for you, all of you, is that they would give 2 to 3 meanings with an example of the sentence for that, so that you will easily understand the exact meaning of that word. So write that at the back of the flashcard. That means on the card on which you have written your word. Fine. Then once you note down that, it is easy for you to remember those things and try to make a sentence of your own. You should start making a sentence of your own with that meaning. So what sentence can you make? Because once you go through that Oxford Dictionary, they would have given you a circumstantial sentence as an example. Once you understand those circumstances, it is easy for you to understand the circumstances, take it into your real life, those circumstances, and try to form a sentence out of it. That way, once you start working on your own to frame a sentence on those particular words, then it will be quite easy for you to remember those particular words. Then, always, whenever you do that, to memorize that, always use an association word with your favorite favorite memorable thing, right? So we do it in the activities when we make students to introduce, no? So when we make them to introduce, we will ask them to associate your name with one of the dish you like the most, or one of the film actor you like the most, or one of the adjective that you want to be in the future. So that way you have to associate that word, so that, because once you associate with your favorable thing, then what happens that you will never forget those things. I hope I'm making it clear. If there is any difficulties, please get back to me so that I can help you further in understanding how to memorize the vocabularies. Then, when we get into the test, or when we are writing the test, let us see key, what are the things that we need to keep in the mind. So especially in the vocabulary building strategies, so I am going to give you few more tips. So whenever you are entering into the test, uh, there will be a set of questions, right? Say there might be 6 questions in each section. You will be having some 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. In each section, you will be having a set of 6 questions. So before you start answering the question, what you have to do is, I keep on telling to all the students, not only for a particular competitive exam or a competitive test or like that, even when I do workshops for students, I tell them, read the question paper twice, thrice, 4 times to understand the meaning of the question. Before you start reading the question, read the instructions, what they want you to do in that particular paper. Read the instructions carefully. Understand the instructions, what they want you to do in that particular paper. Once you understand the instructions, then get into reading the questions. Once you start reading the questions, right? Spend some 10, 15, 30, 40 seconds on that. So that what will happen, spending that much of time on one question to understand that, you will get the answers automatically. Once you understand the question clearly, the answer will be easy for you. Then never forget to identify the answer. Never forget to identify the answer that suits both logically as well as stylistically, right? To complete that particular sentence. Why I am telling you that, why it should fit in logically and why it should fit in stylistically. The reason being, as I told you in the beginnings, there is a saying in English, one word, many meaning, or one meaning, many words, right? That means one word can carry many meanings depending on the circumstances or the situations that we are using that particular word. At the same time, one meaning, many words. There will be one meaning for the thing, but there will be multiple words for that to get that particular meaning, right? So that way you have to see what word exactly fits in there. Say, for example, I'll give you an example: home, house, shelter, right? So these are the things: home, house, shelter. So when would you use the word home? When would you use the word shelter? Or when would you use the word house? So these are the things we have to keep in mind. This is what I meant to say. Choose the answer that logically and stylistically fits in to complete that particular sentence. I was seeking the support of getting a house or getting into his house would not give a professional meaning. Instead of, I was seeking to take a shelter under him. Right? So this is where stylistically and logically, I was seeking for a help to stay in his house. So that way, whenever there is a sentence, whenever you find these sort of sentences, you have to correct those words very carefully. See to it that memorize, read the question. Does this word fits in there or not? Right? And also, going forward, always read the sentence very slowly to avoid skipping or like missing of anything. Right? Don't rush in reading the things. Don't read line after the line. Try to read word of the word and try to understand, connect the words to one another, and then otherwise, what will happen if you miss one word, the meaning of the entire sentence would change. If you skip or if you miss one word, the entire meaning of the sentence would totally change. So, always be aware while reading. And fill in the blank or blanks with your own words first. Right? Once you have gone through the question, you have understood the question very well, then you predict your own answer before looking at the number of choices that they have given. Don't look at the choice first. When you predict your answer, that gives you the more ability to improvise your vocabulary. Okay? You predict your answer. What could be the right word here? Then look at the answers, the answer choices that are given A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever the number of choices that would have been given. Then try to resonate or try to match your predicted word with the answer's word. If it resonates, if it is very close by, if it is the synonym of the same thing what you have predicted, then choose that word and put it there. Right? You have to choose the word from the given choices, not the word that you have predicted. But predicting first is always better. That gives you the scope of understanding and improvising your vocabulary. Then, once you feel that yes, this word is the right answer, as you feel, then when you seek it, that words that doesn't fits in, you just try to eliminate those answers. Eliminate in the sense, don't look at them, just forget them. Say they have given you 4 choices, A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and the word that you have predicted is very close to the answer choice that is in the number 3 or C. You forget A, B, and D. So relate that with C and choose C as the right answer. Then going forward, answer one blank at a time. Sometimes what will happen in certain paper or in certain sections, you might be getting multiple blanks. There can be 2 or there can be 3 even sometimes. Right? Normally they won't go beyond 3. Regularly there will not be more than 2 blanks. Still, in case if you find max to max, it can be 3 blanks. So while filling in the blanks in the question papers, always fill one blank first. Try to understand that part, the part of that sentence. When you fill in that, then go to the next blank. Don't try to fill in all the 3 blanks and make the sentence and understand. Right? The reason being, when we get into the types of sentences going forward, when we jump to the main lesson part, I will make it to understand what is the compound sentence, what is a complex sentence, and what is a compound complex sentence. That time we will understand if there is a comma, or if there is a colon, or if there is a semicolon that is separating the sentences, then you will find it difficult to get the meanings. So that is the reason, with one blank, try to finish that particular part of the sentence, then go to the next blank, then to the next blank, so on and so forth. Right? And then what you have to do after you've done the entire paper? Never be in a rush or never be in a haste to submit your paper and walk away, right? Even if you are left with 2 minutes for the time, never think, let me go out 2 minutes early. No, just revise the entire paper in those 2 minutes, right? That will give you a proofreading ability. You can proofread your own answers, what you have written, right? So double check the answers that you have written, and always know the parts of speech that you are going to pick as the answer. Once you understand the parts of speech of the word that you are going to pick up as the answer, it will be quite easy for you to understand the meaning of the sentence. Then, once you use all these above strategies for picking up an answer, just eliminate the wrong answers or the wrong choices, whatever it is there. Then, how can you memorize these things? So, there are two sets of things when a sentence is made, right? So, these are called as keywords or phrases. So, when we are looking at these keywords or phrases, right, there can be two sets. One particular thing, they are called as the road signs. Road signs. What are these road signs? So, when you are riding a vehicle on the road, you will see a lot of road signs, right? Parking, stop, no parking, all these sort of right turn, left turn, all these types of road signs we see. In the same way, we have to understand the keyword in the sentence or the signal phrases in the sentence. Signal phrases means they give us a signal what exactly this sentence is going to say, what exactly the action is there in this sentence. That is, those things are known as the signal phrases, are the keywords that we have to understand, right? Most of the time, these road signals are the keywords or the key phrases. Most of the time, it would be the conjunctions or the phrasal conjunctions. So that is the reason in the English language, very important part of those things that we are going to cover would be conjunction would be one of the parts of speech as well, right? So there will be two road signs. Normally, whenever we make a sentence, whenever we make a statement, or whenever we make a interrogative sentence, whatever the thing we are making. So that normally there will be two signs. One is going forward, the other one is coming back. If you understand these two things, then it will be quite easy for us to pick in the right word to fill the blanks, or pick in the right word to correct the sentence, or pick in the right word when we have to use a one word substitution, or for one word substitution, you use the split word substitution. So that way it will be easy. So there are two signs, the road signs. One is the straight ahead, that is going forward. The other one is known as the detour, or it is called as coming backward. So this straight ahead signs, they reveal the continuation of the sentence, or they support the logic and the meaning of the sentence, or it can also support the entire result of the sentence to some sort. So, what are these straight ahead words? For example, these are all, most of the time, these all would be the conjunctions or prepositions, or the phrasal prepositions or the phrasal conjunctions. So I've just given you a few examples over here. You can just go through. Also, besides, furthermore, because, since, in addition, in fact, moreover, accordingly, as a result, consequently. These are the few conjunctions and few phrasal prepositions that can help you to understand what this sentence is saying. Or is there a continuation, or we have to look back, or we have to drop out the meaning of the earlier part of the sentence. Say, for example, I'll just give you a clear example to understand this straight and detour, how it works like, right? Say for example, Sheila is a very good student of this college. She is brilliant. She is very brilliant, especially in her academics. She scores almost 90% and above in all the things. She takes parts in almost all the curricular activities. She takes parts in almost all the social curricular activities. But she is not punctual. So, but is a detour word. That means it looks back at the word, the whatever the thing already has been told, so much positive about that particular student gets null. The entire meaning gets null there. But she is not punctual. The same thing you can convert into straight ahead sentence by making, instead of using but, if you want to convert it a negative sentence into a positive sentence. Seema is a very intelligent girl. She's very intelligent and brilliant in her academics. She almost scores more than 90% in all the subjects. She takes almost all the extracurricular and social curricular activities she takes part. She performs very well. And also, at times, only she may not be punctual. When it's and also at times, she may not be punctual. So that means with all these things, when you say this at times or also, she may not be punctual. Means there might be some constraint because of which she may not be punctual. But if you use the word but and she is not punctual, the entire positivity, whatever the thing that you are told earlier, would get into as a void sentence or the void meaning. Everything gets cancelled. So this is what the thing we have to understand in a sentence. So detour, as I told you, it signs the reveal or a contrast or opposition to the thing that whatever you have said, or it shift into something different sometimes. So these are the few of those words, some prepositions and some conjunctions that are can be used as detour normally. There's as, although, but, despite, however, in spite of rather, in contrast, nevertheless, all these are certain words, right? So you have to be very much aware when we understand the sentences, because especially finding the errors or when we get into the composition part of it, we find these things. So we have to be aware whether this particular sentence is a detour or a straightforward sentence. Then look for some other keywords that can help you to derive the correct meaning. That means to derive some other keywords, what is the thing that is necessary for a person to know about it? So you should be very much well versed with synonyms and antonyms. If you are good at synonyms and antonyms, that means if you are good at your verbal ability, that means if you are good at what do you call it as vocabularies, then automatically you will understand what are the synonyms and what are the antonyms. Then practice some defining words you don't know by using their context in a sentence to help you understand them. Right? Some words, as I told you in the very beginning, when I was talking to you all about making the play card, right, or the flashcard. So when we are doing those things, defining certain words, understanding their meaning, and making the sentence on our own using those words would really help you to come across all these constraints very easily. Then look for what is directly implied by the meanings of the words of the sentence and relate it to the correct answer. Sometimes what will happen when you are correcting the sentence or find the error, this type of question should be there. That time, what will happen when you read the sentence slowly and understand the complete meaning of it, then you see what is that word that is directly implying the meaning in this particular sentence. What is that particular one word or one keyword or one particular phrase that is forcing the meaning in the entire sentence? That is the pivot of the sentence, right? Then you relate that particular word to the right answer's choice that is given there. Once you understand the meaning of that key phrase word, or the that is a either it is a straightforward word or a detour word, then relate that, compare that with the answers choices that has been given to you and choose the pick right answer. Then read the sentence literally, not imaginatively, right? The reason why I am telling this, why I am telling, giving you all these tips is that normally what happens when we start reading a sentence, we try to imagine something else and we go forward. And imagining the sentences, we try to understand it from our own perception, our own feelings, what we feel inside, right? So don't go that way. Don't read the sentences imaginatively. Try to understand the meaning of the sentence literally, what exactly that sentence is saying. Then it will be quite easy for you to pick the right answers in the answer choices. Then, sorry, then look for the descriptive words or the phrases that reflect the theme or the idea or the logic of the sentence or even the intent of the author. Here, intent of the author is not you are not going through a book or you are not going through a novel or something like that. So here, the intent of the author is the intent of that particular sentence that you are going to answer. What is the entire meaning of that sentence and what that sentence want you to do and what you have understood by reading that sentence, right? So when you find out these keywords or the phrases, that is either it is a straightforward or a detour, when you understand that these are the author words, right? What exactly they are saying. They are whether they want you to go forward, straightforward, or they want you to detour in that particular sentence. Once you understand that, it is quite easy again. Then paraphrase long and complex sentences in your own words to better understand the meaning of the sentence. This is very, very, very important for all of us, right? Say, sir, how to paraphrase the long and complex sentences? I'll give you a very simple, very realistic example, my dear. All of you watch movies either on TV or on the theaters, right? You go and waste 3.5 hours to 4 hours sitting in the theater or sitting in front of the TV and watching the movie. Yes, the movie is very interesting and very useful. It gives you a lot of morale and a lot of such other things. You watch the entire movie for 3 to 3.5 hours, and the same evening, one of your very close friend visits you. You tell, "Hey, I watched this movie. It is so fantastic. You know what is the crux of this movie?" You start narrating the story. You have watched the movie for 3 to 3.5 hours. You narrate the story in less than 30 minutes. So the entire movie, which you watched for 3.5 hours, you narrated the entire story of the movie within 30 minutes. That means you have paraphrased it, you have compressed it, you have given him, told the story only what was the important thing that carried that there in the movie. You are not going to describe them. Okay, what was the song there? What was the scene of that song? Who was the uh, what was the dress the hero was wearing or the heroine was wearing? Right? You just give the crux of the movie. In the same way, whenever you read a paragraph or a long sentence, try to split them. How do you split? You see, a sentence will always have certain punctuations. It can be comma, or it can be colon, or it can be a semicolon, or it can be separated by a hyphen, or it can be used with a conjunction. So see, and understand and read it. And whenever you read a sentence to understand, never read the sentence at one go. Always read the sentence, cutting them into parts. Read the sentence with 2 or 3 words at a time. At max to max 4 words at a time, not beyond 4 words. So those splitting of the sentence, whether you are reading 2 words at a time or 3 words at a time or 4 words at a time, when you cut that, that portion should give you a certain meaning. Then you read it further. That way, when you start reading, you will understand the complete meaning of the sentence in depth. Once you understand the meaning of the sentence in depth, it is quite easy for you to pick the answer again and you can easily get along with the question paper. Then, rely on your knowledge of root words. Right? That's what I said. Give root words. What exactly you have predicted with respect to the meaning that you have come across with the sentence, believe on that. Depend on that. Believe on your own abilities. Have faith on your own abilities. Right? And then look at the answer choices. If you are finding the word that is very close to the predicted word that you have, that is the root word that you have in your mind, and if that word is there, that would be not would be, rather it will be the right answer that you are going to pick. Always never ever forget that one of the wrong answer is almost or often it would be the antonym of the correct answer. The another trick I am telling you, they would have given you 4 words. Out of the 4 words, one of the wrong word would be the exact antonym of the right answer. So that way also you can see they were given you 4 words, A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, what is the antonym of what? This is another trick that you can use to pick the right answer. Right? All the 4 words will not have 2 antonyms. Only one word would have the antonym. If A and C, if you come to know that C is the antonym of A or B is the antonym of A, that means, so your answer should be A. It cannot be C or B or D. So that way also you can choose the right answers. Then what is this sentence equivalence? What are we? How we can make the sentence equivalence? This is another section of the test. So here there will be 4 sentence equivalences questions in each verbal reasoning section. Whenever you get into this verbal reasoning part, there will be 4 sentence equivalence questions. So this is used to test the ability to determine how sentence should be completed by using the meaning of the entire sentence. Right? So they would have given you a truncated sentence. They will ask you to complete the sentence with the words that suits the most. So it is a truncated sentence. You have to complete the sentence. So for that, when you do that sentence equivalence, that means there will be 2 parts of the sentence. One part of the sentence says something, the other part of the sentence says something. How will you equalize them? How you are going to club them together and bring them together and make them into one sentence? That's what the major part here. Again, here, the parts of speech plays a very major important role. So when we get into the main part of the classes, we will understand what is sentence equivalence, how we can tackle this, and all those part of things. Then in each sentence, one word would be missing, right? One word would be missing. Another tip, what I'm going to give you is one word would be missing because we read so fast that word, the missing word, might not get flashed into our mind. So that is the reason I was always saying, read the sentences slowly. Once You read it slowly, you will identify the word that is missing. That you have to identify that particular word. What word is missing in that? So in that thing, when you identify, always better is to identify the two correct words, right? This sentence equivalence will come to you in find the errors or replace with replace the one word with multiple words. This is the pattern of question, right? Say for example, how it would be like Ramesh's parents both were working in different companies, hence they could not concentrate more on Ganesh, so they put him into the hostel. Parents should be missing. So, what is the word? Parent is a one word. Now, here you have to identify two words. So, what are the two words that give the meaning of the parent? That is father and mother. So, here you cannot write Ganesh parents. So, Ganesh father and mother both were working, hence, they put Ganesh into an hostel. So, these are the things that you have to understand the sentence equivalence part. Then, so when you understand all these things, you try to find out the exact word that suits. Sometimes, what will happen? They will say Ganesh's father and mother were working in different companies, both were working in different organizations. Hence, they put Ganesh into the hostel. Replace with or substitute with one word. So, what is the part? What are the words that can be replaced by one word here? So, you have to understand that. So, the sentences Ganesh father and mother, yes, normally whatever we think, no, yes, Ganesh father and mother both are working. So, what is there? What is the single word that you have to replace? So, the one word that replacement is here is the parent. Father and mother. You have to take off father and mother, replace the father and mother with the word parent. Ganesh's parent both were working in different organizations. So this is the sentence equivalence part of it. Then few more steps how we get into the sentence equivalence. Read the sentence and look for clues. That means the road signs where it takes you forward or backward. Then predict the answer. As I was telling you earlier, you predict the answer. What could be the nearest matching word that could fit in this particular sentence? Always select two answers that match closely to your prediction that is there given in the choice answers. Then check for the answers if the sentence retains the same meaning, right? Once you replace the words or once you fill in the gap, you just check for the answer. Does the sentence gives the same meaning as it was earlier? Then always consider to answer all the choices, right? Consider all answer choices. Paraphrase the questions. Paraphrasing the questions means cutting short and understanding it very simply, right? Once you do that, it will be easier for you to understand what exactly they want in the question. Then look beyond synonyms. Sometimes what will happen is that one synonym that might not work. So you have to go beyond that, your limit of knowledge bank, your limit of uh, verbal or the vocabulary bank. So you have to go beyond that thing. As I was giving you an example in the very beginning stage, house, home, or shelter. So for you, the synonym for a house is home because all of us know house, home, both are same. So you have to go beyond that synonym. That means beyond home or beyond house, what could be the next word that could suit here? A shelter. So that you have to take care of and that you have to practice as well. Then answers may include synonym pairs, right? That don't fit sentences in their context. Then use prefix, suffix, and the roots, as I told you in the very beginning itself. What are prefixes, what are suffixes, and what is the root? Then the final thing we have to look for in the vocabulary part is, or the verbal reasoning part, is the transition. Again, the transition is nothing but in the sentence, is nothing very simple. It is the transition is to help you to understand the flow of the sentence. That means to help the flow of your ideas. Once you understand the sentence, what is the flow in your idea, use them and use the transition words accordingly. Transition words again, straightforward or detour. That is, if you want to continue the meaning ahead or you want to give the contrast meaning post that. So this is what the things. Then these transitional words or these the road signs, they are like the bridges between two sentences. They are like the bridges between the two sentences that showcases the relationship between those two sentences. I hope, my dear friends, these are very important tips and certain instructions that I wanted to give you all so that you understand in depth what exactly the GRE is, so that you will feel more confident. If you practice according to these tips and instructions, you feel more confident and you can take the exams very comfortably. So before I close this session, I would also already the aptitude trainer would have taken you through the entire content of it, but still I would like to reiterate the same thing. If you look at here, the verbal reasoning part, I'll be taking you through these contents, that's nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives. These are the parts of speeches. Then I'll take you through the subject verb agreement, the tenses and the aspects, right? Then the pronoun and the pronoun agreements. Idioms and idiomatic expressions. That's what I was saying. In the transitions, this plays a very important role. Then modifiers and parallelism. Once we do all these things, modifiers and parallelism are the things, the sentence equivalence, what I was telling you earlier. Sentence equivalence are the modifiers and the parallelism. Parallelisms are nothing but using two words, replacing one word with two words, or modifiers are those using one word substitution. Okay. And finally, one session we will have entire complete session for clarifying the doubts. I hope this would have given you sufficient knowledge on how to take the exam, what are the important things you need to take care about the exams. If you have any questions, please do get back to me. Would be more than happy to help you out in all these things. Thank you so much. Thank you all.